Well, hello, folks. I'm L.A. Little, and this is your daily NeoTA wrap. We take a look at these markets, and we do it from a neoclassical perspective, each time asking ourselves what happened today and what does it tell us about the coming ones. I do this show 4 times a week, Monday through Thursday, broadcast at or before 10 o'clock Eastern Time, archived on YouTube. It's under the channel L.A. Little. You can catch me there anytime, any place, any device. Up to you. Today we're doing a little bit different than normal. I'm doing this broadcast at about 1 o'clock Eastern Time. It's November 12th, 2014. It won't be around later, so I'm broadcasting early today while the markets are live and open. And if we take a look at what's happening in those markets, we can see it's a pretty flat market. NASDAQ's the strength, weakness in the listed issues. Remember, we had a two-bar reversal on the Dow last night. Well, we're down a whole 0.04%. 7, oh, now 8 points. Yippee, right? This market is strong, folks, and it's been strong. It's running on fumes. We know it is, but it's not giving it up. Europe was down big. That caused us to gap down. This came out of, a bunch of this come out of two things. One, Russia and Ukraine. Russia's starting to rattle the sabers again, and the other part of it was a bunch of fines that were given out to various banks for front-running customers and rigging markets. Surprise, surprise. Where there's money, there's going to be people trying to cheat you. Asia. Nikkei was actually pretty strong again last night. The ASX was the only one down. Hong Kong, Shanghai, they all had a good night. So, when you're looking at the markets from that perspective, they look pretty good. Let's take a look here. Since we're intraday, I'll pull down my futures charts. Here's that gap down this morning. We gap down, test into the big bar back here from 11.7. Bounce up to resistance. Come back down, test one more time, doesn't break. Once that happens, what does it do? Gets back over this big bar high, which was yesterday's big spike up at 10 o'clock. And then we're hanging just up, just up underneath the highs. If we look at the NDX, slightly different picture there. Let me pull this down and grit this so we can see it. Slightly different picture. The scenario here, of course, is it's over the highs and continuing higher. So the NDX highs, new highs, SPX trying to get back up to the highs, and that's kind of a general picture of what's happening here during the day. Now, what we haven't seen yet is other than the Dow last night, we haven't seen a failure. We haven't seen, any failures. We had two last night. We had the XLP and we had the Dow. Both of them did two-bar reversals. What it's going to take for this market to pull back is where you go over back under, right, and you have less volume. Now, the volumes here, we don't get the reads until later today, but the volumes are running light today. So there is the possibility that this could trade back underneath yesterday's high and set up a failure at these highs. It is trying to get up here and test this swing point high. Hasn't got there. It's only a couple points away. This is the Russell, of course. So, there is the possibility of some sort of a pullback still in the cards here. Breadth today, reasonably weak. Apple's been the strength. Apple was holding everything up to start the day. Other than it, that was pretty much, the story this morning. And then, of course, the dip buyers come in. We have not seen a late date failure for the last 2 weeks. And you're not going to see any kind of significant pullback, and I mean 2 or 3 day pullback that goes 2 or 3% until you get one of those. So if you're looking at this before the market closes, that's what you want to be looking for. Are you going to get a late day failure or not? If you do, then there's a possibility finally of some sort of a retrace that might stick. Until that happens, it's going to continue higher, folks. There's nothing in the cards here to say otherwise. So indexes all look about the same. Nothing really changed there. Let's pop in here and look at the sectors right quick. I was just starting to look at those before I came on air. Let's see if any of those look different. IBB really isn't doing anything. It's just kind of consolidating. I was just starting to look at the transports. Transports, remember, they went over, back under, had more volume. They're going back up to try to test again. Again, if they get up there, over, back under, less volume, it'd be a failure. We're kind of late in the day here, so volume's going to be lighter today. Same here on the SOX. Lighter volume, still consolidating. XLB, the material sector. We've been seeing rotation. It got over a swing point high yesterday. What is it doing today? Looks like it's going to try to fail up here and pull back and do a retest regen off that bar. So, 1, 2, yeah, it looks like it probably will have slightly lighter volume. If we move over to the XLE, XLE struggling with all down, but still there's rotation into this as it comes off a seriously oversold condition. If we look at the financials take a hit today off that news out of Europe. JP Morgan was one of the ones in that group that was cheating folks, and it's pulling back, but not that much really. So that one actually had a higher volume high, so even if this does pull back, I would expect this retest regen after 6 bars to probably hold. XLI, that one also had a heavier volume trade last night back underneath, but wants to be tested again. XLK new highs, and as I was saying as we started the show, Apple is the story here. This thing's pushing up to new highs, and that doesn't look like that's going to fail today. XLP, we actually had the 2 bar on. It's the only one we had it on, but even there, you get the gap down, and they start buying. XLU, now this one's coming off and doesn't have much more volume though, so it tests the lows. Looks like it's setting up some sort of a range trade up here in this off this bar, really, this 11.5 bar. If we look at the XLV, that one, no real pullback. It went over, back under, had more volume last night, and looks like it's going to try to test again. And finally, the XLY, again, rotation, money shifting over to those sectors that have been lagging. So when you look at the sectors, when you look at the indexes, so far, folks, nothing has changed. It looks pretty much just like it did, and that is that these markets, even though they're on fumes, they simply do not want to give it up. Let's pop over and look quickly here. I saw bonds were up this morning. They sold back down. I want to take a quick look at those, and then a dollar. Those are probably the 2 most interesting pieces here. That's still consolidating, really nothing on the bonds yet. Let's take a quick look at the dollar. And the dollar is still hanging as well. So, you know, if I had to put the crystal ball together here and try to say what's going to happen in today and tomorrow, this still looks like it wants to test those tops. Russell still wants to test its tops, and unless they do that over the next hour and a half or so and fail, this market's going to go higher still. So no change yet unless we get that late day failure. If you get that, that's a significant change from what we have seen, and that would be a key that you probably got a 2 or 3 day retrace coming. But folks, I don't think the trade here is to try to catch the top. The trade is to keep working longs into your portfolio and waiting for when this thing does retrace, and then you try to load up a little bit more heavily than you can right now. That's really the trade, and that's really what you should be trying to focus on. As far as any kind of special today or anything, I've really got to cut it short here today. I just wanted to bring you an update on what's happening, what to be looking for. That same scenario would be the case tomorrow as well, and Friday. So if you see that late day failure and you get the over-unders with less volume, that's probably the signal you're waiting for to know that some sort of a retrace is probably in the cards. Folks, as always, I thank you for joining me. I ask you to tell a friend, tell 2, and I thank you in advance for doing so. You can tweet this. You can push it to Facebook. You can do a like. You can do a lot of things to help spread the word, let other people know about TA Today and what we try to do for you. Have a great night. Have a great week. I'll see you on Sunday. Take care. Good night.